The Adventure of Emma and the Lost Treasure. Once upon a time, in a small, quiet village nestled between rolling hills and a sparkling river, lived a young girl named Emma. Emma was 10 years old, with bright, curious eyes and a love for adventure. Every day, she would wander through the fields, climb trees, and dream about the exciting places she would one day explore. But there was one thing she loved more than anything: treasure hunts. Emma's village was filled with stories of hidden treasures. The villagers loved to tell tales about ancient kings who had buried their gold deep in the hills, or pirates who had hidden their loot in the caves by the river. Emma's favorite story, however, was the legend of the lost treasure of Willow Glen. According to the legend, many years ago, a kind and wise old woman named Eliza had hidden a great treasure somewhere in Willow Glen, a mysterious forest that lay just beyond the village. Eliza had been known for her generosity, always helping those in need, but when she grew old, she feared that the treasure would fall into the wrong hands. So, she hid it, leaving behind a series of clues for only the bravest and kindest to find it. For years, many had tried to find the treasure, but no one had succeeded. The forest of Willow Glen was dense and confusing, filled with twisting paths, secret groves, and strange, magical happenings. Over time, the legend faded, and people stopped searching. But not Emma. Every time she heard the story, her heart would race with excitement. She knew, deep down, that one day she would be the one to find the treasure. She just had to figure out how. The mysterious map. One sunny afternoon, as Emma wandered through the village market, she spotted something that made her stop in her tracks. An old man, dressed in a long cloak, sat at a small wooden stall with various trinkets and old papers spread out before him. One piece of paper, yellowed with age, caught Emma's eye. It looked like a map. Curiosity burning inside her, Emma approached the stall. "Excuse me, sir," she said politely. "Is that a map?" The old man looked up, his eyes twinkling with a knowing smile. "Ah, this," he said, holding up the paper. "This is no ordinary map. It's said to be the first clue to the lost treasure of Willow Glen." Emma's heart leaped. Could it really be true? "How did you find it?" she asked eagerly. The old man chuckled. "Let's just say it found me. But I have no use for it. Perhaps a brave young adventurer like you could put it to better use." Emma hesitated. She had always dreamed of finding the treasure, but now that the possibility was real, she felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. She knew that Willow Glen was a dangerous place. Still, the thought of a real adventure was too tempting to resist. "I'll take it," Emma declared. The old man handed her the map, his smile growing wider. "Good luck, young one. And remember, the treasure is not just gold, it's wisdom." Emma thanked him and hurried home, her mind racing with possibilities. Into the forest the next morning, Emma couldn't contain her excitement any longer. She packed a small bag with snacks, water, and her flashlight, and set off toward the edge of Willow Glen. As she walked, she studied the map carefully. The first clue was simple: find the tallest tree in the heart of the forest, and beneath it, you will see the path. Emma had always heard that the center of Willow Glen was hard to find, with paths that twisted and turned unexpectedly. But she was determined. As she entered the forest, the tall trees loomed overhead, their branches swaying gently in the breeze. The air was cool and fresh, and sunlight streamed through the leaves, creating dappled patterns on the ground. Emma followed the winding path, looking for the tallest tree. She had been walking for a while when she noticed something strange. The trees around her seemed to be getting taller and taller. Their trunks were wider, and their branches stretched high into the sky. Soon, she found herself standing in front of the tallest tree she had ever seen. Its bark was rough, and its roots twisted deep into the earth. "This must be it," Emma whispered to herself. She looked at the base of the tree, remembering the clue. Beneath the tree, the roots formed an arch, almost like a small doorway. And beyond the arch, there was a narrow, hidden path that led deeper into the forest. Emma took a deep breath and stepped onto the path. It was darker here, and the air felt heavier. But Emma wasn't afraid. She was too excited to be scared. As she walked, she kept an eye on the map. The next clue was written in small letters at the bottom: in the clearing where the flowers glow, look for the stone that guards the flow. Emma had no idea what that meant, but she kept walking. Soon, the trees began to thin, and she found herself in a small clearing. To her amazement, the flowers in the clearing were glowing, softly, like tiny lanterns in the dusk. Their light was gentle and warm, and they swayed slightly as if welcoming her. Emma walked carefully through the glowing flowers, marveling at their beauty. In the center of the clearing stood a large, smooth stone, almost like a boulder. It was covered in moss and leaves, but as Emma brushed them aside, she noticed something strange. There were words carved into the stone: "The brave will find the key where the water flows free." Emma smiled. The clues were leading her closer to the treasure. She looked around and listened carefully. In the distance, she could hear the faint sound of running water. She followed the sound until she came to a small, bubbling stream. As she knelt by the water, she noticed something shiny beneath the surface. Reaching in, she pulled out a small, golden key. Her heart raced. This had to be the key to the treasure. The final challenge. With the key in hand, Emma hurried back to the main path, which led her deeper into the forest. The trees grew denser, and the shadows longer, but Emma didn't feel scared. She felt like she was on the brink of discovering something amazing. Finally, she reached a large oak tree, its trunk wider than any she had ever seen. At its base was a small, wooden door, hidden among the roots. Emma's hands trembled with excitement as she inserted the key into the lock. It turned with a soft click, and the door creaked open. Inside the tree was a small, cozy room, filled with soft, golden light. On a pedestal in the center of the room was a chest, intricately carved with symbols and designs. Emma approached it cautiously and lifted the lid. Inside the chest was not gold or jewels, but something far more precious: a beautifully written letter on old parchment, along with a small locket. The letter read, "To the one who has found this treasure, congratulations. You have proven yourself brave, kind, and worthy. This locket contains the wisdom of the forest and the knowledge that true treasure is not found in riches, but in the courage to follow your heart and the kindness you show to others. Wear it proudly, and remember that you are the guardian of this wisdom." Emma held the locket in her hand, feeling its warmth. She realized then that the treasure was never about gold or wealth. It was about the journey, the courage to face the unknown, and the lessons learned along the way. She smiled, feeling proud of herself. She had braved the forest, solved the clues, and found the treasure, not just the locket, but the treasure of courage and self-discovery. The return home. As Emma made her way back through the forest, she felt a new sense of confidence. The forest no longer seemed dark or scary. It felt like a place of magic and adventure, a place where anything was possible if you had the courage to explore. When she returned to the village, the sun was setting, casting a warm glow over the fields. The villagers gathered around her, eager to hear about her adventure. "Did you find the treasure?" they asked. Emma smiled, holding up the locket. "I did," she said, "but it wasn't what I expected. The real treasure was learning that I can be brave even when I'm scared." Her words filled the villagers with wonder, and they looked at Emma with new admiration. She wasn't just a young girl with dreams of adventure anymore. She was a brave explorer, a hero in her own right. And so, from that day on, Emma wore the locket as a reminder of her courage. She continued to explore, always seeking new adventures, but now with the knowledge that true bravery comes from within, and that the greatest treasures are found not in gold or jewels, but in the lessons we learn along the way. The end. Moral of the story: true courage comes from within. It's not about the absence of fear, but the strength to face it and the wisdom to learn from the journey.